If you're still wondering if it's possible to go full-time as a creative, I'm living proof that it is. My name is Chike Onachukwu. I've been doing videography and content creation professionally for about 2 years. I've been full-time for about a year and some change. And honestly, it has been one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life to go full-time. Just to give you a little background of me, I didn't really ever start off in content creation and videography. I didn't even know I was going to end up being here, if I'm being quite honest. Early in my college days, I was on a full ride scholarship to school. I started off in the meds track, so I was actually a chemistry major. And then during like the mid-year, I turned into a psychology and entrepreneurship major, really trying to focus on law school, more specifically entertainment law. But honestly, all in all, without getting into the nitty gritty, I ended up finding out that I was doing all that for the wrong reasons, right? It wasn't really what I felt called to do. I wasn't passionate about it. So during my senior year of college, I said, F this, honestly. I really decided to just dig deep and really figure out what I love, what I enjoy, what are my interests. And it led me into content creation, right? Like, I've always did it as a hobby, editing videos, making highlight reels for myself, things like that. And when I started seeing the rise of content creation, of influencers, and seeing people do this, I'm like, wait a second. I can do this shit too, you know? So that's when I really started like really picking it up. And when I was on the track to go to law school, a lot of it felt like misalignment. A lot of it felt like, I might be doing this maybe for my parents, for people around me. People are saying like, do this, do that. Like, you're getting pulled in so many different directions. And sometimes you don't have time to think for yourself. So I always like to say my content creation journey and my videography journey was also a way of me taking control of my life and doing what I wanted to do. I used to want to be an artist manager. So one of my friends was really big into music, and he wanted me to manage him, to help him find gigs, to help him, raise money. And part of it was also to help him shoot visuals for promotion. So I used to follow him around and just take videos of him when he went to go perform. I would go to his performances and record. And that was like my first feel of like what it's like to go out and record and then go home and edit. My first paid project was actually a photo shoot. It's crazy. I used to have a couple different endeavors, but I used to want to be a model as well, which is so hilarious. And I was actually called to be like a backup actor and in like a premiere show on Netflix. And during that, I met someone who was also in photography and also in modeling. And long story short, she wanted me to take her photos. And that was when I first started picking up a camera, when I first started doing it. I remember she paid me like $100 to do some photos. And that was when I was like, oh, wait, like, you can get paid for this. Like, it was crazy, yo. Like, and it just made me realize that, wow, you can actually get paid for this. And that's when I really was like, okay, it lit me up in the sense of like, okay, I didn't get paid much, but something is there, right? I would say like the early mistakes I made when I first started my content creation and videography journey, number one is undercharging. One of the biggest mistakes I see and something I made was charging per hour. And there's so many things wrong with charging per hour. I think the main thing is just you can never put a boundary to your creativity, especially when it comes to time, right? A project might take you 30 minutes to complete, but someone else 40 hours to complete, right? But the 30-minute person could have a better product than the 40-minute person. But does that mean that they necessarily should be paid less? No. Your creativity, you can't put a time to it. It's really based off the final product. If I can deliver you a great final product, my price should be reflective of that final product. Shouldn't matter what time, how much time it took. Also in the beginning, you're excited. You just want to get paid for your work. So you're trying to give a number that like it sounds agreeable, sounds like something that someone would grab, but content creation, especially nowadays, is the driving factor in a lot of businesses. Every business nowadays needs content, whether it's for their social media, whether it's for their website, whether it's for their ads. We scroll on our phones all day. What are we looking at? Content. So you got to charge people. I would say nowadays, this, depending on your experience level, if you're doing photo or video, minimum like $400 or $500, and that's like on the low end. People are out here paying thousands for content. So I think when it comes to charging, you definitely got to know your worth, see what other people are also pricing, and value your work in that way. Another mistake I made in the beginning was saying yes to everything. Now, this could lead you in a couple different paths. You might end up hating yourself if you just say yes to every gig that comes to you. Yes, it might feel good because like you're staying busy and, some money is better than no money. But, what you'll come to realize if you keep doing that over time is that you just get burnt out. Your portfolio gets scattered. You're not viewed as an expert. Right now, what is booming right now is, what are you an expert in? What is your, and I hate using this word, but what's your niche? Like, example, people come to me because I branded myself as a premium storyteller. If they want to tell a good story about their brand, about, maybe they're getting an engagement, they value storytelling, and it's because of how I branded myself. Everything I do is based off storytelling. When it comes to the visuals, when it comes to the sound design, when it comes to the color grading, I'm very intentional about that. So I only align with people who also love storytelling. And you find yourself, when you do that, when you position yourself like that, now you're attracting people that you align with. And it just makes it easier. You don't want to stretch yourself everywhere, be doing 5 different projects in this category, 6 different projects in this category. It's just not how social media works right now. Like, example, let's get someone's getting married and they value photos, they value capturing those moments and being able to look back at it 10 years from now and feel those same emotions from her wedding day. Right now, she is going to be looking for the best videographer or photographer in the area. She does not want nothing less. So when she's going through that search looking for people, she's going to be looking for the best of the best wedding photographer or videographers. She's not going to be looking for someone who does branding and does portrait and does lifestyle and does product. No, she wants someone who specifically does wedding, is experienced in wedding, and can deliver photos and video without any issues. That's just how social media is now, and just how like people are right now. Like, people want the best of the best. So I think as a creative, you want to think about that and think about how you can position yourself as a best in a specific category, if that makes sense. Another mistake I made early on in my career is just having no systems. And this could really kill your business. Like, throughout my journey, what I'm learning, there's 2 different types of creatives. There are people who are freelance creatives and just doing and taking on projects. And there are people who are business owners. And those people who are business owners, they have systems. They have a system for client onboarding. They have a system for shoots. They have a system for their calls. They have a system for offboarding. They have a system for editing. Now, what's a system? A system is simply an ordered process that you follow, that if you follow that process, it gets the job done. And the cool thing about systems is you can now assign people to those systems, right? And that's how you really start building an actual business and a well-oiled machine, right? Because as you grow as a creative, you're going to get more work. You might start with doing 2 projects in a month. Now you're doing 10 projects in a month. And we're only one person, right? We can't do everything. So in the beginning, I didn't have no systems. I was just doing everything by myself. Now I have people who take calls for me. I have people who onboard, right? I have editors who on certain projects where I can't take on, I have support in that way. And that's going to help you be sane, honestly, because like I said, you can't do everything by yourself. At some point, you're going to have to learn delegation. And honestly, that's been the hardest part in my journey, really going from solopreneur to entrepreneur, because as a creative, to an extent, we're attached to our art. For me, I make videos in a certain way, so it's like it's hard for me to delegate that process when it's like it's my eye, I see it that way, and I may feel like only I can do it that way, but it's not true. It's not true. Like at the end of the day, it's a skill that you can teach someone. It's a skill that you can delegate. So you want to be more open-minded in that way, and I'm talking to myself as well as I'm saying it, because that's one of the hardest parts in my opinion, as a creator, is just really building those systems, delegating and bringing people onto your life. You have to be a really good communicator of your vision. But those are some mistakes I made in the beginning, but I've also made a lot of improvement from that. So what has changed? Number one is structure. I'm very proud that my business has gained a lot of structure. I have systems in place. They're not the most oiled systems. I'm still working on making them well-oiled machines, but my business has structure now. We have lead forms. We have CRMs. We have people that take on calls. We have editors and production coordinators. We have structure to our business. And that's something it's required, because if you don't have structure in your business, you're going to run yourself through a wall. Your mental health is going to be at risk, to say the least. Another thing that has changed for me is just overall my content strategy. Now, content is super important, especially marketing yourself as a creative. A lot of the leads that we get in right now is from our content. And it's very important that you don't just post content just to post. Everything has to be intentional. Going back to what I said, as positioning yourself as an expert in your field, it goes hand in hand with your content strategy. Like, what are you showing people? Are you showing people your process? Are you showing people results? Are you showing people transformation? That has to be outlined in your content strategy. And you have to find a rhythm that works for you. I remember in the beginning, I told myself, I can post 3 reels in a week. That's doable. Start small. You got to start with something that's doable. Now we're trying to expand to really 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, at least posting once a day during the weekday. You don't listen to people that say you have to post every day, you have to do it. No, you just gotta find something that works for you. You have to be consistent. If you say you're gonna post 3 times a week, you have to do that repeatedly, week after week after week. You have to find a consistent rhythm that works for you. That's the most important thing. And the last thing that's really changed for me and really helped me grow is really that storytelling focus. So in the beginning, I used to take on every gig. So I'd find myself doing a lot of different projects, right? But through that, I was able to find my own creative voice, my creative style. And a lot of my style had to do with like my color grading. I love a nice color grade. A lot of my style had to do with clean cuts. I love clean cuts that tell a story. My biggest thing is taking video of the same action, but in 2 different angles, right? If you look closely, I do that a lot in my videos. And that simply is storytelling, right? When you're watching TV shows, when you're watching movies, producers, directors, camera operators, they do that all the time. So through like all the projects I've done over the years, I found my own creative voice. And it wasn't until like about a year ago, I really started honing in on just storytelling. Like, that's what I want to do. That's my style of work that speaks to me. So ever since I really started dialing in and really positioning myself as a storyteller, I feel like that's what's helped me 10x my clients, honestly, because now when people think of storytelling and think of premium brand storytelling, they think of me. And it goes back to what I said about like really positioning yourself as an expert in your niche, whatever it is. You can be a wedding photographer, you can be a product photographer, you can be any niche. You can be someone who does a lot of After Effects. You can be a black and white videographer. It doesn't matter. You just want to be a specific thing and dominate that thing. And that's what's going to help you stand out. I really started building momentum through client referrals. Referrals are always going to be your best form of business. When you can deliver great work to someone and that person goes and tells their friend, tells their spouse, tells their coworker, that is like the best type of trust you can get, right? Because all business, a great synonym for business is trust. How can you get someone's trust so that they are willing to take the money out their wallet and give it to you? And the best form of that is word of mouth, right? And as I reflect on it, I think one of the things that helped me or helps me get a lot of client referrals is my customer experience, my customer service. I take great pride in delivering great customer service. And what does that look like? From the very beginning, I set the standard. Every call I have with a potential client is over the phone. Not only is it over the phone, it's a video call. And I feel like a video call helps me to really understand and see the client, really like establish a real connection with them. It's similar to like when you're talking to your friends, like when you're on FaceTime. FaceTime is a more intimate conversation than just text messages. It's even more intimate than just being on the phone. FaceTime, you're seeing their face, you're seeing their facial reactions, you're seeing them. And I love doing video calls because that's when I feel like I can be myself. I can ask good questions, I can laugh with them, I can just connect with them more. And then also just on shoots, being timely, being a great communicator, being more than just a photographer or videographer, helping out wherever you can. I just did an engagement shoot last weekend and helping them set up the cake. I was helping them pass cake to guests. I was helping them set up in the beginning. And I overheard the mom like, wow, like this videographer, she said he working hard for his money, something like that. But that type of energy, that type of thing goes a long way because that's how you get people to remember you. Like you always want to go far and beyond for your clients. And that's something that we always stress at Cheek Production. That's something I always tell people that I bring on to the business. Like our customer service gotta be A1. I don't take anything less than that. Another thing that's helped me build momentum is just consistent visuals. A lot of this game is visibility. Like, how can I be in front of someone's face 24/7, right? So I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. Now y'all see me on YouTube, right? I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, right? And I'm posting there, I'm on Threads. I post on Threads multiple times a day, right? So a lot of it is visibility. Like how can you get on different platforms and different channels and almost you want people to be like, damn, I keep seeing Cheek everywhere. Like I've gotten that a lot from people like, yo, I see you everywhere. And it's like, yeah, y'all gonna see me everywhere because when you think of your next video gig or I need a video guy, you think of me, right? And it's not just like putting anything out there. It gotta be top tier things you're putting out. So a lot of things I put out is BTS versus the results. I put out a lot of client transformations, how we went from this to this. On my personal account, I share a lot of my personal life too. I share a lot about my lifestyle and what I do outside of work. So all that is important for just building visibility and being consistent in your visuals. Like that is like when you ask any creative, consistency is just it's a non-negotiable. It's a prerequisite, honestly. Another thing that helped me build momentum It's just that brand identity, right? So again, people are starting to recognize me as a premium storyteller. And that's very intentional. That is very intentional. When I really rebranded last year and honed in, I started with 5 core values. What are the 5 values that no matter what, I want this company stem from? And I remember those 5 values were creativity, storytelling, authenticity, collaboration, and professionalism. Those are my 5 values. I wrote them down on a piece of paper. And I encourage you to, if you don't know where you at in your journey, just start by identifying and clearly writing out your 5 core values, because now that's your basis and how you move. Anything I post, they're going to be stemmed from one of those 5 values. Anything that I put out, my visuals, how I talk to people, anything, it's stem off those core values. And over time, people will start to pick up on that, right? People will subconsciously, like, you ever think about it, that there's certain colors that are associated with different words. Like, easiest example, right? When you see red, red is usually associated with love. When you see blue, blue is usually associated with trust. So it's even deep like that, where it's like you're tapping into color psychology and just like, yo, everything's intentional. You have to have a clear brand identity so that over time you're going in a certain direction where like you're capturing a certain type of client. I hope that makes sense to you, because that's honestly been one of like the biggest things. And that's why I talk about it so much, because like it's pivotal. I feel like a lot of people, they might just post just to post and hopefully something sticks. But it's like, that's cool. But something that's even better is if you're intentional about it and each post gets you closer to that brand identity that you're trying to give out. I think something that also helped me is understanding this key belief that you don't need a massive following. You just need results and reputation, good reputation, right? From this time, from this time in this recording, I have 3,500 followers on Instagram on my business account, and I have 2,000 followers on my personal account. Total, I have 5,500 followers across Instagram. That's not a lot. I haven't even hit 10K on an account, but I've made 6 figures in my business. I've made a multiple 10K month. I don't even like getting into the numbers because it doesn't matter. Like, more than that, I'm actually living my dream life, a life that like I never thought I'd be living. I never even thought was possible, right? So I think a lot of people, especially in the beginning, they get caught up in like, oh my God, I only have 100 followers, or I don't have 10K, I don't have 100K. That doesn't matter. There's so many people with 100,000 followers that haven't made a single penny on social media, because they don't know how to leverage it. They don't know how to attract an audience that actually buys. And that's what's important, right? I'm in the game of leveraging social media to get what we want. So don't get caught up in the numbers too much. I promise it does not matter. But I really wanted to make this video just to show you guys that like it's possible to make a full-time income from being a creative. You just need to put the necessary structure and honestly just have belief, right? Because a lot of people fall out because, it might get hard or they don't think they can do it. But yo, it is possible, yo. So if you like this video, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment too on where you guys at in your journey. And also subscribe if you want more content like this. Let me know if you guys are going full-time or thinking about it. I'm curious to see what you guys have. And to the next video, I'll see y'all. Peace.